Welcome to AI Rounds, your weekly dose of AI in medicine and education.
We are your hosts, Dr. Nuria
and Dr. Morgan Leaf. Each week, we'll bring you a quick dive into the latest in artificial intelligence and how it's transforming healthcare, medical education, and medical communications.
From the tools changing how we teach, learn, and write, to breakthroughs shaping patient care. If it's new, exciting, or just plain useful, we're talking about it.
In just 10 to 15 minutes, we'll get you up to speed and maybe even spark your next big idea.
Let's make the rounds.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. On the show, we are pleased to have a guest, Crystal Herron, who will be speaking at the Early Career Medical Writer Summit along with Nuria and me. Hi, Crystal.
Hello. It's great to be here.
Great to see you. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be talking about at the Early Career Medical Writer Summit.
So my session is, I'm going to say it's a little different. It morphed into something else. And it was because I've spent a lot of time learning about AI and how it's affecting our field. I was a little slow to jump on the train. And there was a lot that stood out to me. And there are a lot of medical writers at all stages of their career that are really concerned about AI and how it could affect their work and whether they'll even be obsolete. And so I just was giving it a lot of thought and learning about how these models worked. And so my session is really about how us as humans, as medical writers, the value that we bring, even if we're using AI tools.
Absolutely. That's really important.
Oh, that is awesome. I love that. Yeah, the value that we bring as we use AI. I love that. So one thing that is different about Crystal is most of the other people who are part of this early career medical writers are all medical writers. But Crystal, you're an editor. So that is also like a little bit different. You bring a little bit of a different perspective. So when you were like building your session, who are you, like, what was your student avatar? Who are you thinking about?
Really, well, I mentioned this already. As I was learning more and developing it, my session is really for anyone at any stage of their career. And, it can give reassurance to people who are further along, but being that this is an early career summit, there are a lot of people that I'm talking to who are interested in a career in medical editing or writing. And they think, well, why should I even bother? If AI is just going to take it over, I don't even want to go down this path. And actually, there's so much value in what we have. And so that was kind of what inspired me and who I really wanted to speak to in this session.
That's really interesting. And what are you telling early career medical writers about AI when you get that question? Because I get it too. Is there even going to be a job in 5 years? What's your answer?
Well, I always start with, we don't know where these things are going to go, right? So there's always that caveat, but keeping in mind just the different limitations they have and that we know they will continue to have, which I won't get into now. So come to the summit and I'll talk all about it. But I usually tell them, come into the field. There's so much room and need and value for us. But the way that you work will likely be different than what it has been in the past. And so to explore that and be open to that and just recognize that there are so many different pieces of it that you will still do, but other aspects of it may be outsourced to AI, or you might work with AI. And that it's also really important to know how the tools work, whatever tools you're using, because there's so many different ones, how they work, what their limitations are, so that you can make sure to highlight your value to the particular project that you might be working on. If you're a freelancer, to be able to explain to clients how you're using them or how they're beneficial or not, those types of things. So I guess to sum it up, I say, come into the field. It's amazing. Just recognize it might be a little bit different and it will likely evolve, and to just try to stay on top of things as best as you can.
That makes sense. I agree. And I'm glad you mentioned freelancers because all of us who are teaching at the summit are freelancers, but I think we will have some attendees who are employed. And what do you see as the difference between freelancers and employed folks when it comes to AI?
Oh, great question. I haven't thought about this one a whole lot. I think in either case, it's important to know how they work, what exactly you're using them for, and how that can impact whatever you're working on. If you're freelance or in-house, I think there's different things to keep in mind. For example, if you're freelance, your clients may or may not want you to use AI. So it's important to know how they could. You guys actually talked about this recently on the podcast, but to know that some ways are still okay, even if you can't use it for these other ways. And I think if you're in-house, it's similar, but the conversation is a little bit different because you might be collaborating with the team or advising or bringing in tools, or they might have a specific tool. So I guess, in both cases, if I had to create a parallel, would be know the tools you're using, know the limitations you're using, or the limitations that they have, and keep those at the forefront when you're talking to whoever you might be working with, whether it's a client or colleague.
That makes complete sense. Yeah.
And have you incorporated AI tools in addition to like learning about it? Have you started incorporating AI tools into your work?
I'm dipping a toe in as far as writing and editing are concerned. And the reason for that, I'm primarily an editor. And I think that the usefulness of these tools is very different if you are editing or writing. And with my work, particularly client work, things are confidential, proprietary. You don't want to put them into any of these systems. And I've also found, and I'll get into this a little bit in the summits, but I'll give a little preview, that the quality of the writing, the nuance as far as the accuracy, the precision, the words you choose, if you want to send a persuasive message, that there's still a lot lacking. And I think that is actually one of the values that we add to the process. And so because of those reasons, I don't really use them for my writing and editing work, but I have incorporated them into other aspects of my job.
Thanks for sharing. I am really looking forward to your session and picking your brain about how you're using AI. And I think like a key question more and more is like, how do we show our value? How do we still bring value? No, it's not only about showing, it's also like to feel good about what we do and about our work. Yeah. So I'm always interested in having that conversation. Thank you so much, Crystal.
Thanks, Crystal.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.